It all began on a typical Tuesday afternoon when Emily received an unexpected call from her mother, Jane. "Emily, I need you to come home right away." Her mother's voice sounded panicked, almost as if something terrible had happened. Emily felt her heart skip a beat. She'd been planning to visit her mother later that week, but the urgency in Jane's voice made her grab her coat and head out immediately. As she drove toward her childhood home, Emily's mind raced. What could be so important that her mother needed her there? Had something happened to her father? Or was it something worse? Her thoughts swirled with possibilities, none of them good. When she arrived at the house, her mother was pacing nervously in the living room. "Mom, what's going on?" Emily asked, trying to stay calm. Jane turned to her daughter, her face pale. "I found something," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Something that changes everything." Emily's stomach twisted in knots. "What do you mean?" she asked. Without another word, her mother led her to the attic, a place Emily hadn't ventured into in years. The dusty wooden stairs creaked beneath their feet as they ascended to the attic. Jane opened the door slowly and gestured for Emily to step inside. The room was filled with old furniture, boxes, and stacks of forgotten memories. But what caught Emily's attention was a small, worn box sitting in the far corner of the room. Jane picked it up and handed it to her. "This belonged to your father," she said, her voice low. Emily's hands shook slightly as she opened the box. Inside was a collection of photographs, letters, and a small key. The photographs were of her father, but the strange thing was that they were taken with a woman Emily didn't recognize. "Who is this?" Emily asked, holding up a picture of a smiling woman with her father, their arms around each other. Her mother's face turned a shade darker. "That's what I need to talk to you about. That woman was your father's mistress." Emily felt as if the floor had fallen out from under her. "What? But why didn't you tell me?" Her mother sat down on the dusty floor, taking a deep breath. "I didn't know how. Your father, he was always distant with me, but I never suspected he was seeing someone else. He was always so careful." "How did you find out?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I found the letters," Jane replied. "He had been writing to her for years. I found one letter just a few weeks ago that told me everything I needed to know." Emily's mind was reeling. She had always thought of her parents' marriage as solid, as a partnership built on trust. But now it seemed like there had been a secret world that she had never been a part of. "What do we do now?" she asked. Her mother shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. "I don't know, Emily, but I need your help to figure out what to do with this. I can't carry this burden alone anymore." Emily nodded, feeling the weight of the situation settle on her shoulders. It was clear that whatever they decided, their lives would never be the same again. Over the next few days, Emily found herself poring over the letters and photographs her mother had discovered. The more she read, the more her suspicions grew. Her father had been seeing this woman, whom he had called Lila, for years, even though he had always presented himself as a loving husband. Emily was disturbed by the depth of the deception, but what shocked her more was the way her mother seemed to have known about it for so long without confronting him. She decided to speak with her father directly. That Friday evening, she sat down with him at the dinner table, her heart pounding in her chest. She had been avoiding him all week, unsure of how to approach the subject without causing an explosive confrontation. But now, she knew there was no way around it. "Dad?" Emily began, her voice steady but quiet. "I need to talk to you about something important." Her father looked up from his plate, raising an eyebrow. "What is it, Em?" "I know about Lila," she said, her words hanging heavy in the air. Her father's face turned an alarming shade of pale, and he dropped his fork. What are you talking about? Emily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the truth pressing down on her. The letters, the photographs. I found out everything. For a long moment, there was silence. Then her father looked at her, his eyes filled with a mixture of regret and guilt. I didn't want you to find out this way, he said, his voice rough. But I guess I never thought it would stay hidden forever. Emily felt a surge of anger. How could you do this to Mom? To us? She demanded. I made a mistake, he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. A terrible one. But I never wanted to hurt your mother, Emily. It happened. How long has this been going on? Emily asked, her voice trembling with disbelief. Over a decade, her father admitted. But I was always careful, always kept it secret. Your mother never suspected a thing. Emily stood up, pacing in frustration. And now what? What do we do now, Dad? Do we just sweep it under the rug? I don't know, he said, his voice filled with defeat. I don't expect your forgiveness, but I want you to understand that it was never meant to hurt you. Emily's mind was racing. Her father's confession had left her feeling more confused than ever. She had always idolized him, but now the man she had looked up to seemed like a stranger. Her thoughts turned to her mother, who had been so devastated by this revelation. What about Mom? Emily asked. What are we going to tell her? Her father looked at the floor, his hands clenched tightly. I don't know what to say to her, Em. I don't even know if I can fix this. Over the next few days, Emily struggled with what to do next. She felt torn between her loyalty to her mother and the complicated emotions she had toward her father. On one hand, she wanted to stand by her mother and support her as she processed this betrayal. But on the other hand, she couldn't help but feel empathy for her father, who seemed truly regretful for his actions. The situation was even more complicated by the fact that Emily had her own life to consider. She had recently gotten engaged to her longtime boyfriend, Mark, and was preparing for their wedding. But with all the drama at home, she found it hard to focus on anything other than the mess her family was in. One night, after another difficult conversation with her mother, Emily decided to take matters into her own hands. She had to find out the truth from Lila, the woman who had been a part of her father's life for so long. Emily tracked down Lila's contact information through one of the letters, and after much hesitation, she picked up the phone. Lila answered on the second ring. Hello? Is this Lila? Emily asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Yes, this is she, Lila replied. Who is this? This is Emily, she said. I'm the daughter of your lover, your long-time affair with my father. I need to know everything. For a moment, there was silence on the other end of the line. Then Lila spoke, her voice quiet but full of tension. I don't know how to explain this, Emily, but I never wanted to hurt your family. It was never my intention. Then why did you do it? Emily asked, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. Lila sighed. Because your father and I had something real, something that was missing from his marriage. I never wanted to destroy your family, but he told me he loved me. Emily's heart pounded. The truth was more complicated than she had imagined. As the conversation continued, Emily learned more about the affair and the years of deceit that had led up to this moment. But even with the full truth revealed, Emily knew that nothing could fix the damage that had been done. As she hung up the phone, Emily felt a sense of finality. The truth was out, but the future was uncertain. Her family would never be the same again, and she wasn't sure how they would move forward. All she knew was that the road ahead would be difficult, but it was one she had to face head-on.